What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on a recent podcast that I watched about. I watched Jason Whitlock, right? And Jason Whitlock spoke about how LeBron James has ruined his legacy in Los Angeles. And so I'm gonna play the audio from what Jason Whitlock said, and I'm gonna react because a lot of what Jason Whitlock said, I've been saying, for the longest, and some of what he said, I really agree with, and so I just want to, like I said, react to what Jason Whitlock said when it comes to LeBron James and how he ruined his legacy in Los Angeles. Now, I think I think he messed up his legacy, not just in Los Angeles, but his whole basketball legacy, man. Just I just think he made some moves that was didn't really work out for him in the long run. So with that being said, I'm gonna play this Jason Whitlock audio, and I'm gonna react. I'm gonna stop it at different points and react throughout the broadcast. Hold on.
See if we can push this back because we really want
to execute a script. This is Black Panther all over again. And when we look at the results, he has a bubble title, the bubble championship, and a lot of failure in Los Angeles. They just paired him with Luka Doncic, one of the 3 or 4 best players in the NBA. Neither one of these guys, LeBron because of age and Luka because of a lack of desire and fitness, they can't play defense. The Minnesota Timberwolves basically controlled that game from start to finish last night. There was never a moment that I didn't think the Minnesota Timberwolves weren't going to win that game last night, and they end up beating the Lakers in 5 games. You remember Shannon Sharpe? Do we have the clip?
Oh yeah, that's like Shannon Sharpe, man. You know what? I don't know what some of these announcers be looking at when they be looking at and evaluating these games, right? Because Shannon Sharpe, he been a LeBron James fan for years, but I think you can still be a fan and still be like honest and fair about the situation. Like LeBron James, ever since he's been in Los Angeles, he has not really been a good defensive player. And like Jason Whitlock said, it's been a lot of failures and not too many. Besides that championship with the bubble championship, which a lot of people disregard, they don't really pay that no mind. And then they won like the mid-season tournament one year, Rich people really don't. That's not really a big deal either. But I agree with us, Jason Whitlock. It's just been a lot of failure, and they not really acknowledging that. You know what I mean? They not really being honest about the situation. And I think when they don't acknowledge it and be honest, at least be honest about the situation, you lose credibility. People really don't. Shannon Sharpe, in my opinion, just look foolish. So I'm gonna get back to he can already play what Shannon Sharpe was saying about those Lakers in 5. So I'm gonna get back to that.
I asked, Here, here's Shannon Sharpe constantly predicting Lakers in 5, Lakers in 5, Ant-Man, Superman, Dogman, Man, Lakers in 5. Let's play that collage of Shannon Sharpe, who a big part of this Matrix script as it relates to LeBron James. I believe this is, SOT number 7.
It don't matter. Divorce court, child support, Lou Dort. The Thunder, a Boost Mobile bundle, WWE Royal Rumble. OKC, KFC, UFC, Lakers in 5. Houston Rockets. I don't care nothing about no light socket, a court docket, or my empty pockets. You can say FGA, PGA, USA. Lakers in 5. Phoenix Sun, Capri Sun, Mohegan Sun.
Yeah,
The
Mohegan
sun about to
Sun.
set.
Yeah.
Lakers in 5. CP3, C3PO, it doesn't matter. Star Wars and Luke Skywalker.
That's who he is.
Lakers in 5. It doesn't matter. Chris Paul, Cliff Paul, Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Lakers in 5. You can have Harden, you can have a Pardon, you can get a Garden. Lakers in 5. Serge Ibaka, Chewbacca, Waka Flocka. Lakers in 5. White side, backside, sunny side. Lakers in 5. Tyler Hero, superhero, guitar hero. Lakers in 6.
All right, so
The hype machine.
you know, I don't know. I think like if you are someone who is like an analyst and you're speaking on the games, you're commentating on the games and stuff like that, and you want to have credibility, and all right, at the beginning of the series, and you think the Lakers going to win in 5, that's cool. You get that's you're right. You can make that pick and stuff like that. Although what you're basing it on, like the Lakers don't play defense. LeBron been in the league for 20 years. He's 40 years old. You lose credibility though. Like when you Shannon Sharpe, when you're not honest about the situation and you're not telling people, like what are you basing your picks on? Why do you feel like the Lakers are going to win in 5 games? You just can't, and you throw that stuff out there. So that's why people don't really pay Shannon Sharpe no attention. He really looked, like I say, he just looked goofy and foolish when he was saying that stuff.
This is Shedeur Sanders all over again. What did I say? What went on at Colorado for 2 years? Media would show up, broadcast the game, and constant propaganda. You're watching one of the great quarterbacks in the history of college football. It's amazing what Shedeur Sanders can do. He can spin it. He's John Elway. He's Joe Montana. Tom Brady's mentoring him. Shedeur in 5, 5th round.
So look, but now that's the thing though. When you watching these sports and the commentators are really giving their opinions, or I think it's important to people just got to think for themselves, man, because that's true. I do think that a certain amount of hype, a lot of hype went into Shedeur Sanders also, but that's with sports in general, like I don't care if they talking about Alabama or Colorado, LSU, the Lakers. You got to watch the game and think for yourself, man, especially, a lot of times, just imagine like being in a barbershop and you're talking sports with guys in a barbershop, or you sitting on the side of a basketball court and you're talking sports about, if you talking to somebody and they come up and they say Lakers in 5, like why you feel like that? What has the Lakers shown you that make you think that they can win in 5? Or why do you think that Shedeur Sanders, like, state your case? You had some intelligent conversations with people. More, in my opinion, you have more intelligent conversations with people. And like you said, like I said, on a basketball court, in a barbershop, than you would have with some of these so-called professionals, because they have agendas, it seems like, and they just want to promote a certain agenda. They want to promote a certain player, and so they'll keep on they'll keep on promoting this nonsense without any solid foundation or nothing to base it on. So, and I guess you can put the dude Shedeur Sanders in there. I didn't think that he was like a Heisman Trophy candidate or nothing like that, but that was the hype around him at the school. They wanted to make him a Heisman Trophy candidate, to see if they could get him to win that. But let me get back to some more of what Jason Whitlock is saying, though, because I think he makes some good points.
Steve Young, Roger Staubach, Vinny Testaverde, Shedeur in 5. This is the exact. This is what the media does. It lies and propagandizes and installs icons.
That's true.
The LeBron James, I'm just talking about these last 6-7 years in Los Angeles. Been a psyop. It's been a script. It hasn't been based in reality. This man has exited the first round of the playoffs multiple times while a Los Angeles Laker.
All right, let me think. All right, so he said it's a psyop. It's a script, right? I just a quick question. I want to know, like, what would be the purpose though of this script? You know, because I think the story in basketball, I think it writes itself. I think, in my opinion, I think that Steph Curry, his career is in my, I think he had a good story that could have been highlighted. Like the NBA could have highlighted the Steph Curry career. You had a guy, Steph Curry, who stayed with one team his entire career and won 4 rings. And now he's chasing a 5th ring. Married guy, with kids, don't have any off the court issues, just like LeBron. But I think his story, maybe Steph Curry, maybe they felt like he was boring or something like that, though. But I think his story, his legacy, to me, is more marketable than I think he's more relatable too. Like Steph Curry were like 6'1", 6'2". I think about 6'2". So the average person can relate to somebody who's 6'2". You know what I mean? He's closer to being average than LeBron James, 6'9", 260 pounds. So I don't know. I just think the Steph Curry story would have ran good if the NBA wanted to promote, Steph Curry.
This man has played with Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic and got one bubble title, a bubble title, the COVID title. No fans. The NBA, desperate for relevancy and ratings, allowed the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James to win a bubble title. Other than that, it's been an abject failure.
Abject.
And it's all been about LeBron stat padding and chasing Michael Jordan. And they have to sell you the myth. You're watching history. This is unbelievable. LeBron James is going to surpass Michael Jordan.
I think the NBA is going to regret that too. Like the fact that they really got into this situation with LeBron James. I think at a certain point in time, the NBA they was in too deep and they couldn't really cut ties with LeBron James because it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have looked good. And so LeBron James, I think he really he really took advantage of that situation and he just went overboard. I also think that the NBA probably is going to be glad to start a new era with younger, with young, fresh faces in the NBA. I like, like this new group of kids that's coming into the NBA. You got, the Shea Gilgeous kid. I like him. Then you got Cade Cunningham with Detroit. I like him. Who else? Donovan Mitchell. I like, Donovan Mitchell been around for a couple years, but I like him. I like the Boston Celtics. So you got some kids out there like that's phasing in, some young people that's phasing in, and I like their style of play. They play, a lot of these guys are two-way ball players, so they play hard on offense and defense. So I think the NBA is going back to what it used to be, as far as like guys playing tough at both ends. Instead of you got a guy who only want to play offense, and then I think you ready to get a better quality of basketball with these young guys that's coming in. So I like that about the NBA. But I think the NBA is really regretting, in my opinion, getting in bed with LeBron James because he really abused his power and his privilege.
Never been a possibility. Pretty much after the first season in Miami, when LeBron wet his pants against Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks. We never saw that from Michael Jordan. I got a lot of analogies today, and I just want to start there. LeBron James and Shedeur Sanders, they're one and the same. I want to play, and I'm gonna save some of this for Scap, but the pressure that the Lakers felt and the abject failure of midseason trade for Luka Doncic and LeBron James bringing in his podcasting buddy JJ Redick to coach the team. How many coaches? LeBron James is a serial coach killer.
And that's what I said. He got rid of coaches at Cleveland when he was first there. I think Mike Brown, he got rid of Mike Brown. He got rid of the dude when he came back. What is his name? Block or something like that. David Block or something like that. What's the guy name? He wanted to get rid of Eric Spoelstra when he was in Cleveland, but Pat Riley ain't go for that. He got rid of Darvin Ham. There was a coach before Darvin Ham when he went to LA. He got rid of that coach, and then he got rid of Darvin Ham. Yeah, man. LeBron James, man, he really just got really a whole bunch of coaches just thrown under the bus.
A serial coach killer. And yes, he's supporting JJ Redick at the moment because, again, he installed JJ Redick. They were podcasting buddies. But JJ Redick, putting a rookie coach who's done a podcast and hosted some ESPN TV shows, this is a level of malpractice that is a serious mark against LeBron James's GOAT status. I've been saying for years, Tim Duncan partnered with Greg Popovich. Michael Jordan partnered with Phil Jackson. Kobe Bryant partnered with Phil Jackson.
Steph Curry.
LeBron James has been installing puppets his entire career and removing them. And when he couldn't remove Eric Spoelstra and take over control of that Miami Heat franchise, he bounced, he left.
Every great business starts with 3 simple letters.
Now, I think that was a big part of LeBron James's downfall, right? LeBron James, because he's so talented, he realized that anywhere he went and anywhere he played, that team would be a contender, right? But part of what was missing everywhere he went was that support from management, except for in Miami. That support was there. He didn't want that support because LeBron James wanted to do what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. He didn't want to be told no. And so he didn't want somebody like Pat Riley or Eric Spoelstra, telling him what to do. And so he knew that if he went to Cleveland, Cleveland would be a contender. He went to LA, LA would be a contender. And then all you had to do was put the right help around him. But in order for LeBron to be a great ball player, he needed other people around him who knew how to manage teams and how to put the right talent around them. And then at the same time, LeBron James would have had to elevate his game. But he didn't have to elevate his game since, once the NBA was like, they crowned him, King James, the golden child. He didn't have to elevate his game. He didn't have to develop a mid-range. He didn't have to develop a low post game. All he had to do was just to go and get somebody who had those skills and those talents and just play with them. And he would reap the benefits from that. I just think LeBron James abused the power and the authority that the NBA gave him. I think that the NBA is probably regretting what they, the power and the freedom that they gave to LeBron James, because he didn't work. Even Michael Jordan, and I think Michael Jordan was kind of he was chosen too, but Mike still worked like a horse, man. Mike worked like a horse to improve his game. And so that relationship between Michael Jordan and the NBA was perfect because Mike, even though, like I said, some things may have been orchestrated. Some people feel like some things may have been orchestrated as far as Mike is concerned, but Mike worked like a horse. So you could never say that Mike cheated the game. Same thing with Kobe. You know, Kobe worked, you know, Kobe put that work in. You know, he didn't just work on his body. Kobe studied the game. Mike studied the game. Magic and Bird was the same way. Those guys, you know, those old school guys, they work. But this LeBron James, you know, and because he realized that that things were orchestrated in the NBA, so he thought that he wouldn't have to work like that. He wouldn't have to develop his game. He wouldn't have to uphold his end of the bargain. He was like, man, if y'all gonna crown me, you know, and say that I'm the chosen one, then I'm gonna just ride this wave. I'm not gonna work on my low post game. I'm not gonna work on my mid-range shot. I'm not gonna play, you know, try to be like defensive player of the year and stuff like that. I don't have to do that because you already crowned me. You already, you know, you already told the world that I was the chosen one. So why do I need to work hard and better my game? You know, we can just continue to orchestrate some things around here to make me look like what you say I am. And that's what LeBron game it is, man. It's just orchestrate. He bought into the hype. He never really worked on his game and developed, and he never really want nobody around him like Pat Riley, who gonna demand that you work. Pat Riley used to having dudes like Patrick Ewing who put in that work. You know, if you're a franchise ball player, like you know, people like what Ryan Clark just said the same thing about Shannon Sharpe, like to whom much is given, much is expected. And LeBron James never really held his end of the bargain up. He didn't work like that. Fans feel cheated. Organizations feel cheated. You know, like Cleveland, when he left Cleveland, they felt like they was cheated. Miami probably felt like they was cheated, you know, because they was going to set LeBron James up where he could have 6'9". You got to do 6'9", 260 pounds, move like a guard. And imagine if LeBron James, if he did work on his game, we'll be having a totally different conversation. But he didn't do that. He didn't elevate his game. And so now you got, you know, now he's caught up in this debate about who's the GOAT when ain't no contest, man. Once he left, I thought when he left Cleveland, he screwed up. But when he left from Miami under Pat Riley, that was the best situation for him, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. He could have been, you know, the conversation about who's the GOAT would have been totally different. But LeBron James, he messed that up. He messed that up, you know, and so he showed people, the generation coming behind him, he showed them that it's important to have great management, you know, great management and ownership behind you too. You know what I mean? All those other great ball players had it. And that's what LeBron James didn't have. That's why he didn't develop into somebody who I would consider the GOAT. Dr. J, Julius Erving considered LeBron James to be the 15th greatest player of all time. And that's about right. I don't think LeBron James is like top 5, top 10. I think he's about 15, like what Dr. J said. And so I could play some more of this video, some more of this audio from Jason Whitlock, but you probably get the point. I just think that LeBron James never really maxed out his talent. I think his LA fans are really ready for LeBron James to be done, you know, this era to be done and over with, so they can start, you know, fresh and look, you know, to somebody who's going to play hard, somebody who's not going to really ride that wave, man, like LeBron James did. And so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. With that being said, also leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video.